So there's not much more frustrating than feeling that you've caught a moment and you've managed to grab the scene perfectly, and then you get back and look on the computer and the picture isn't sharp or as clearly in focus as you would have liked. And well, you know, we're already halfway there, because we already know that we need to be on shutter priority and use fast shutter speeds for situations where there's fast moving, because you know it's that motion blur and that camera shake that causes most photographs to not be clear and sharp. But the second part of that equation is choosing the right focus mode. Now, focus mode is the key here, so make sure you've got your camera manual and ready, and you've looked it up online what your focus mode is, because there's a lot of buttons and menus systems around autofocus and AF. So what we're looking for is autofocus mode, and really there's only two key modes to autofocus, which is this one here, which is one shot AFS or single, or AF servo or AFC continuous, and this final one here, which is a mode, but essentially all this last one is doing is choosing between the above two for you. It makes that decision. Now I'm just going to throw out this little disclaimer here, which is also in the bottom of your download, that you know, once I tell you, you know, I've told you shutter priority using fast shutter speeds to avoid camera shake, and I'm going to tell you these autofocus modes. So in theory we should be taking 100% clearly sharp, pin sharp, crystal clear photos all the time. Now unfortunately, you know, it is a little bit more of an art than a science, because I can't guarantee every single picture you take from now on is going to be pin sharp, and my photos aren't 100% pin sharp, because I always push myself to take better photographs, and I push myself into I challenge myself with situations where it's harder to get the autofocus right, and it's a situation where, you know, I might get 1 in 10 or 1 in 100 shots, you know, fast moving objects that are moving in and out of complicated scenes. It's not an easy thing to achieve, but that's part of the challenge that I like. But knowing these modes will gear you up, put you in a good stead to start taking much better photos, and totally increase your chances of getting that perfect shot. So let's quickly look at one shot here. So with one shot, AFS or single, hopefully that covers everyone's kind of cameras. The names for these different modes can vary a little bit camera to camera, but hopefully you'll pick it up from this. Either one shot, which is on Canons, AFS, which is on a lot of other camera systems, and some systems it's called single as well. And what that allows you to do, it allows you to lock focus. So by pressing the shutter halfway down, you can lock focus on a subject, and you keep that button pressed halfway down, and if suddenly a gust of wind was to blow a flower or branch of a tree in front of it, it still wouldn't focus on this, it would stay locked on that subject. It also allows you to lock focus on that subject and recompose, much like what I've done here with this dipper that was just on this rock. So I've locked focus on that and then recomposed it, so we've got the nice rule of thirds there, so it's away from the centre of the lens. I've locked focus on the dipper and moved it towards the upper left of the composition to make it a more interesting composition there. So that's using single shot now, and that's also good because when you've got moving water, if a leaf might have gone through, an autumn leaf through the water, the autofocus might have started tripping and going on to that. So that's another beneficial use of that single one shot AFS. Now the thing to remember when you're doing that is that you need to keep the distance between you and what you're focusing on consistent, because that's what keeps it in focus. So if I lock focus on there and then move back slightly, that's going to be potentially out of focus. So just be aware of that. You've got to keep that distance consistent, okay? Now the second mode is AF servo or AFC or continuous, and again hopefully that covers all of the camera systems. So anything that says AF servo, or it might just say servo, or AFC or continuous, that is photographing stuff that is moving. So anything that moves, this is the mode you want. So I mean I know the dipper was moving there, but I was pretty confident that it was going to stay on that rock. Now if it had moved from there to there, this rock would be in focus, but the dipper would be out of focus, and that's the price you pay for choosing the mode that you decide to use. And that's just how it goes. But with servo and continuous, I knew that ducks flying into a duck pond or flying away from a duck pond, that's my best chances of focusing on them. So exactly the same as what I just did. You find your subject that you want to focus on that's moving, press that shutter halfway down, and it's locked on focus now, and it will try and predict and keep whatever it is that you want you're looking at in focus based on algorithms basically. So it will try and keep that movement and keep that autofocus tracking with whatever's moving in your camera. Now in front of your camera. Now, as I said, it is a bit more of an art than it is a science in a way, and everyone's autofocuses differ slightly camera to camera. Some are faster, some are a bit more slower. So you'll find the more you use that, the more use you'll get to it, and the more you'll start to get better results. And another thing you could do if you're trying to capture moving things and your camera's struggling with this kind of continuous mode, one of the things you can do is switch to one shot and single shot and pre-focus. So you lock focus on an area that you know your dog or horse is going to run into. So like I say, some cameras are better at this kind of capturing, focusing on movement and quicker than others. And if your camera is one that's sort of struggling, switch to this one shot mode, find that area and just wait for whatever it is you're photographing to come into that. So that's the kind of focus modes, and like I say, this AFA, this AI focus, it just switches between them, these two modes that I've talked about, and really it's hard to guarantee that it's going to be in focus in this mode. So I'd much rather recommend choose one of these modes before you go into the situation than use this one, because it can be a bit unpredictable, this final mode.